Welcome to the Technobabble podcast. Enjoy!
Hey, Bubb, how's it going?
Oh man, it's been good. It's always interesting.
Right, you have a busy day.
Well, it's stream day, so I've organized a crew with myself. I'm waiting on this relaunch of Kanto Crusades. So I've more or less put out an open invite to people, and I've got a couple of people that are sitting waiting for their opportunity to interview per se, to see if they've got the chops for the stream. But I more or less I've been needing to speak with you about how we wanted to handle the initial relaunch of Season 2 of Kanto Crusades.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. That was one of the things kind of on my list to talk to you about. So, yeah, what was it, like a week ago, I guess, I threw you a little ad to throw up on Twitter and other social media and shit like that.
Yeah.
Of saying, hey, man, we got this Kanto Crusades. It's kind of on hold right now because we're looking... some players had to drop out. We're needing to find new experienced players. And so have you had any positive responses from those ads?
I have. I hate to sound very, very much so like I'm from television in this regard, but
right.
I've gotten some of the most interesting responses.
Give me like the most interesting. You don't have to name names unless you want to, but like
sure.
I want to hear it.
I had a person respond with a written application that they created themselves.
On Twitter or email or what?
In email. It was sent to BubbernautTV and at gmail.com, and it was written in the form as if a Pokemon were applying for the position. So,
and you didn't give them the job. Wow, that's awesome.
Well, I read through it and I thought, I'm sitting here thinking like, this guy's fucking with me right now. Like, this can't, like, even the email was snorlax@gmail.com.
Dude, can you read me the email right now? Could you do that?
Dude, it just says Snorlax. It's like lax, snore, Snorlax, lax, snore. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm glad he's got his hobbies down. I understand that he likes to lax, snore, lax, snore. That's useful. I think I have no idea how I'm going to use this, but they took the time to create it, and I had a good chuckle over it. I don't even know how.
Well, they didn't give you any like, hey, okay, for real though, I'm so and so, and
no.
That's a shame. Because if someone would have done that, but like, done it cleverly to where they were really trying to apply, but they made it sound like they were a Pokemon, that would have been worth following up on. I think that's funny.
I think it would have been worth venturing forward to figure out who they were, but I have no idea. Maybe there's a rogue Snorlax out there that's really interested in roleplay. I have no idea.
Yeah. So Kanto Crusades, by the way, it's another game you do, a tabletop RPG where players play in the world of Kanto.
Yes.
And the Pokemon universe, and it basically it's a D&D but with Pokemon, right? It's real life Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so you put yourself in the in the real world in real time, where you yourself are the trainer and Pokemon exist. And a lot of people they're stuck in this mentality that it's like the video game. But it's not, because, they think, I'm going to catch this Pokemon. I'm going to defeat this trainer, defeat this gym leader, and then I will become the very best, like no one ever was. But that's not the case, because these are wild and powerful creatures that harness the capability to destruct the world around them. Like, they're firing, like, hyper-kinetic waves out of their mouth, setting forests on fire, calling down lightning strikes like Thor, splitting the earth beneath their feet, destroying buildings, ending human lives. And
don't you think if Kanto, or if Pokemon were like a real world thing, if they existed in the world, and there's like parodies and funny videos on YouTube, but
sure.
Like if it was really real, do you think it would be like a battle between like man versus Pokemon, and there would be these people that would take the sides of Pokemon and like want to, and use them to defeat man or something? Like what do you...
Well, I mean, like that's the big parody in the games. The paradigm is that these monsters, they rove the wilds, and you have people that are working on the pro side of Pokemon and believe that they should be protected. It's very much like PETA. And then you've got the eccentrics that want to harness the power of Pokemon to control individuals. Those are things very much akin to like Team Rocket. They're controlling people through the power of Pokemon. And then you have the allied individuals who work alongside Pokemon to save the world, or to save whatever it is, whatever their justified cause is. But this is very different. And like, I think if Pokemon were real, it would be a bit more akin to a darker, grittier tone, where they would be not necessarily like harvested, but they would be caught and treated as weapons of mass destruction. They would be used in armies, and they're supposed to be in canon. They're supposed to actually be a war that is going on, where most of the men in the Kanto region have left Kanto because there is a war that's active, and it's believed that they don't fight with traditional firearms. They're fighting with Pokemon.
People think that a lot of people look at Pokemon and think, oh, it's just a kid's thing. But, for people like in our age group, or, even younger than us, or even a little bit older than us, really, we grew up with Pokemon, right? We were there for like the original. And even back then, I looked at it as a kid's game, but I was, still like a teenager, and it was fun, right? It was, it was a cool game. But I don't think I ever really, until, recently, especially when you started doing this RPG game, I looked at it. There's actually, but see, it's kind of anime, right? And like, don't get me, a lot of people love anime. I'm not a huge fan. I can't get into it. I think it's just, I don't like it. I just don't like the way, some of the stories are interesting. I just don't like the way they're done. That genre but I guess the reason is it feels a little too cartoony and too much for kids. But if you strip all that away and look at it like, deeper, it is kind of more. It does have some adult themes in there,
I mean, cartoons have while they've been created to entertain children, they have been something more for so much longer. When you look at traditional cartoons as we know it, Walt Disney's been harnessing with the artists some things like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy. There's a lot of hidden humor that only adults or minds that are conditioned to pick these certain things up would find out. There's a lot of material that is tucked away, like even in popular 90s cartoons like Rocko's Modern Life or Ren and Stimpy. Both of those cartoons have hidden adult themes. Like, take for instance Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko, for his day job, he was for a while he ran a sex line. He was he ran one of those $1 a minute call lines. And I remember one specific episode as a child, he picks up the phone and he's like, oh baby, oh. And then on the other end you hear, Rocco, is that you? It's like, Mrs. Bighead, and then he slams the phone down.
Can I just get you? Can I hire you for like half an hour just to reenact an entire episode of Rocko's Modern Life and do all the voice acting? That would be.
I mean, yes, I am a cheap date at that. So.
That's cool. Oh man, back to the world of Pokemon. What were you? Okay, so we were talking about like the ads, and you're trying to get the new players. How's that going?
Yeah. So like, I've got I got about 8 or 9 people that were interested in it. They've expressed interest, but I'd say only half of them have expressed interest over long term. They've been reaching out to me for a while. They have interest in Pokemon. They've even gone as far as reading the material ahead of time, so they have a better justification or understanding of the rules and how to do certain things. Because it's a player-driven, player-created tabletop game. This isn't something that's been brought to you by big business or a large company that has gone through this and they went over it with a fine-tooth comb. This is something that has been created by people like you or me just because they love it. That's it. And unless they have experience writing these kinds of games, there's going to be errors. It's going to be mechanically clunky and
imbalances and shit like that. They got to stabilize. The balance is a little limited. So you've got these people that they're pretty devout. They're die hard and they want to read everything they can so they can become more knowledgeable. So even when I struggle as a dungeon master, they're like, well, Bub, it's like this. I just recently read this myself, and it's something you should check up. I'm like, hey, man, thank you so much.
That's kick-ass of you. You didn't have to do that. And they're like, well, I'm really interested in myself. I've had a ton of people approach me and tell me, Bub, I love what you do as a streamer, and I can't afford to hire you as my own personal DM, but you have inspired me to start running my own Pokemon tabletop.
That's awesome.
With my friends. And before this, I would have never touched tabletop at all. I would have never done any D&D just because it's foreign to me, and I was afraid of what my friends would think. But you make it seem so seamless and so much fun, and it's very inviting to someone who's scared of that kind of interaction. And all I'm doing is being myself and just having a kick-ass time. That's it. Like, that's the cut and the dry of it all, man. I'm just being me, and I'm having the kind of fun that I like to have. So if I can inspire someone who has never seen D&D before to go out and buy some dice, download some PDFs, and start telling stories and creating, man, I've done my job. It doesn't matter how mechanical the game is. People are creating, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about kind of, when your art inspires someone else's art, that's what art is, in my opinion, right? Art is about creativity, about expressing. It's about expressing things in a different way, or perhaps the only way you know how to express them. And like music or paintings or drawings or telling stories, even, you know what I mean, or even just talking to people. People do it in so many different ways, but the heart and soul of it all is there's really no right or wrong way to do it. I think the success is measured by the people you influence and the people you touch. You know what I mean? So
I would agree.
So you think you've got some people possibly lined up then?
I do. I want to take it to my other players at this point because, they pay to get into these games, so they have implicit review over the addition of a new character or the addition of a new player, and I want to make sure that they're comfortable because I don't want them to rope themselves into anything long term just to be unhappy with it. That would be unenjoyable for all parties. So I want to make sure that everybody's comfortable. They don't have a problem role-playing with this kind of individual, and it's going to be fun all the way around because the last thing you want to do is sit down and be forced to play a game with a guy that you don't like for 5 hours. That's like pulling teeth, man.
That's like work.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. There's this girl at work who's like, she's been there for a couple months now, but man, she started hitting on me hardcore like day one, and like, oh my, she's so annoying. Nobody likes her. Whenever I have to work with her, I immediately feel like less happy. But anyway, when you're working with someone or doing something with someone that you don't get along with, it sucks. Yeah, so that's cool that you're that's very with letting the other people have a say in it. I think that's smart. I like that idea.
I feel like it's important, man. You want to humanize the individual, and you don't want them to believe that they are just a number. And that's like something else that's come into play recently is that I go out of my way to address my followers as if they're more than just a number, and they don't understand. So like I write them. I write every one of them. And sure, my first email goes out to them because I don't know how many of them are lurking, how many of them check their email. It takes a long time to address emails individually. So my very first email that goes out is kind of a cut and paste. It's a copy pasta of sorts. But I add in their names and I say thank you and I invite them back. If they write back, then I carry on the conversation with them. It may go on an email. It may go on like 15 or 16 separate emails. However long it goes, it just goes. And they're floored. They're like, I've been on Twitch for 2 and 3 years now, and nobody has ever written me. And I just respond with, I'm sorry, but I think you've missed out. I hope that you are happy that you've received this email and you don't feel like it's kind of spammy or anything like that, because I want to humanize them. They're more than just a number. They're a person. If they're going to sit there and give me their time, I want to give them something back too, more than just a show. So this is actually how I've received most of my return viewers, is by writing them and having these conversations with them, humanizing the situation, making them feel like more than just a number. And so far, it's not worked out all the way around. It's not a completely infallible system, but
you can't make everybody happy either.
That's right. That's right. And I strive. I go out of my way to reach out to as many people as I can. Not everybody likes it, but I'm doing what I can, man.
Yeah, and you do the things you love to do, like we were saying earlier, and people that respect it and appreciate it, they're the people you want around anyway. Be the person you want to see, be the change you want to see in the world, I guess is the way Gandhi said it. But I guess basically what it means is be the kind of person that you want to be around, and those kind of people you will attract negative. If you're negative, you'll attract negative people. If you're positive, you'll attract positive people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's something that I guess we can all learn from and strive to do better. At least I try to do that, and I try to encourage people to do that. So what do we need to do for Kanto? What you wanted to tell me something about it as far as.
Well, I mean, we've got to figure out how to launch a season 2 of it, man. Like I've got some things that are going on in the story, and I want to make sure that the season 2 overlay is prepped and ready, and how I can hype this up and start drumming up some interest outside of just my casual viewer. And that's why I'm coming to you. You're kind of like you're kind of that guy. You're my go-to.
Yeah. Okay. So we still got a little bit of time for me to work on the finish. I got ideas in mind, which is more than I can say for Shackled City when I started on the Shackled City season 3 or whatever on now overlay. Although that overlay, by the way, it's coming along. I haven't done a whole lot of stuff to it this week. I've done some things, nothing really worth showing you that would make a big difference. But I know what I need to do to finish it. This week's been kind of busy for me, or I got bogged down in other things. But I think I should have some free time tomorrow evening to work on it and possibly get it finished tomorrow evening. But at the very latest, you'll have it for the following week. So that's right around the corner. So as soon as I finish that, I feel like then it's just nice. The next thing to move on to logically would be Kanto. Because that's still a little bit further out. Like I said, you're still finalizing players, haven't officially said, okay, we're ready to start up again. But we're getting close to that, and so we need to start prepping for it. And so I'm going to start working on that here probably this weekend.
Well, I can say that I finally was able to talk to my last streamer for the streamer game.
Oh, okay.
And he's a bigger streamer. He is a partner streamer. He oftentimes will hit the partner spotlight, and he streams anywhere between like 100 and 700 people at a time. So I've got to really sell this to him for him to commit. And I feel like it's important to note at the same time, he said, Bub, I want to be able to sit in this game and help you out, but I don't want to waste your time, and I'm sure you don't want to waste my time. So it's pretty important for me to say this, that as of right now, because I don't know how to play, I'm not going to commit to your game. And he's like, and I don't mean that in offense. I don't know how to play, so I don't even know if I'm going to like it. So can you teach me how to play to even show me if I even like it? And I was like, sure, I've got an idea. Let me throw you into a one-shot. Just a one-shot gig. This game, basically, it's going to last like 5 hours, one session. And I give him like the briefest rundown of how the game works. I give him some simple story. He's got to figure out a few puzzles, defeat a few monsters, and he's got to return an item. It's basically your typical story for a D&D game. But it's to give him kind of the run of the show, get him a feel for what the game is actually like. And I'm not sure if it's going to be on my channel or if it's going to be on his. But either way, it's a huge opportunity for me to bring... Is it like
just basically you and him, right?
Well, no, it's going to be myself as the DM,
right?
Himself and his moderators.
Okay.
And it's going to be like it's a one-shot gig. I've got no other details at this point. I'm waiting on him to pick his players that he wants to join him, and I don't know if it's going to be on my stream or on his stream, but
we should probably throw up some sort of little overlay for that. Something simple, nothing too fancy or too detailed, but at least something, right?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, but I don't. At this point, I'm not even sure what story I'm running, so I can't call on yonder Kirk Lord to make that so.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, it even could be something kind of generic, even if it need be. But yeah, we can throw you something together. As soon as you know more, let me know. No, that sounds fun. And hopefully, you'll be able to get him on board.
Dude,
that would be awesome. Yeah.
I hope so, because like his regular audience is around 150 viewers, and the others, like, I'm just counting down their numbers. I'm not counting, I'm not going to say any names, but I'm looking at their average numbers. So it's 40, 50, 40, 40, and 150.
That's but that's solid though. That's a good start.
Yeah, like having their regulars, their committed viewers to come into one stream, we're looking at like 300 viewers, and that would be bonkers. That would be huge.
Yeah.
Huge for my stream.
And not only that, but those 300 are at least a portion of them are going to be more inclined to stick around for you and to go check out the other people involved. It's a great way to network and bridge communities and give spotlight to other people.
Yep.
And that's the plan with it, though. That's basically the whole goal to the session, to the games, right?
Yeah, that's the secret of it all. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I'm trying to, I'm trying to get these guys to network together, so we've got something fun, something kick-ass, and it's hard, man. It's hard. I'm not a big fish in the pond yet, so.
But I think you're a bigger fish than you think you are, really. I mean, you're not like the top fish, but you're not like a little minnow either.
Fat joke. Come on now, you dick.
No. But I mean, you're like, as far as like, there's not a shit ton of D&D streams on 24/7 like there are League of Legends or Dota 2 and shit like that, D&D streams, the good D&D streams are few and far between. I can think of you could probably think of more than me because you're a little bit more you're more into the scene. But as far as like just a casual, regular, semi-regular viewer of D&D streams, I can think of maybe 8, 9, maybe 10, like what I would consider, the top tier of the D&D genre. And I think you're not too far behind those guys, really, if not maybe even one of them.
I think I would be inclined to agree to a degree. Some of these guys, like those 8, 9, or 10 that I'm supposedly behind, yes, I'm behind them. But we're not even in the same solar system. That's how far ahead they are. Like that's the difference. And I would disagree with the statement that they're 8 or 9, 10 like bigwigs. Like, sure, there are a couple of guys that their names are thrown around regularly, like Silent Osiris and Koibu and Skinny Ghost and Itme JP, and like those are names that are known in the tabletop community, but there are other names that I feel like are important because they all bring their own skill to the table, and that's why I think the category is so interesting, because these are people that are creatively writing or telling stories in their own fashion. When you look at things like League of Legends, it's just fucking League of Legends, man. They're all playing the game, and sure, they've got their own little tips and tricks that they can offer you, but when you look to the D&D category, in my own personal opinion, it's far more interesting because these are people that profess in their trade of writing a game, writing a story, telling a story, acting a certain way, employing storytelling techniques or tactics, picking up these little nuances that make their stream wonderful.
Well, that's what D&D is, or D&D streams. It's a live action story, right?
Yes.
So from the viewer standpoint, it's like, which story do I want to watch today, or whose
Sure.
storytelling abilities do I enjoy the most?
Sure.
And there's like that opens up so many different windows. But my point earlier was I'm saying you're cracking in. You're still, it's the D&D brand or genre or whatever on Twitch. It's still not as, I think it's going to grow and grow and grow. It's just, it hasn't really been brought to the public eye as much as like, your regular Call of Duty or League of Legends or whatever has.
Right.
But I think what you're doing is smart, and I think it's going to help you capitalize on some success early on.
I hope so, man.
Yeah. I do, and like it's so cool. And bringing people together. Because the other thing is like, since there's not as many D&D streamers, then the good quality content to watch live is fewer and far between. You know what I mean? So to expose other people who you think are good, and to expose yourself, because I think you're good and your viewers think you're good, and obviously these other people you're going to be collaborating with think you're good. Or they wouldn't be working with you. It offers that kind of exposure, so that way people can say, well, usually I didn't have anything to do on Wednesday nights, but now I can watch Shackled City, something like that.
Sure.
because so and so who I normally watch isn't streaming on Wednesdays or whatever it might be. Maybe you could convert people or whatever. You never know. You never know what's going to happen.
I will convert them.
Oh man,
this is some kind of fucked up cult.
No. Well, that's yeah, whatever.
Yes, we pray to the Lord of Dai. His name is Hedron.
Come to the world of the Dungeons and the Dragons. Yes. Anyway. I was talking to Tynan Sylvester. I almost forgot his name there for a second. It's kind of a hard one to remember, but he's the guy. Have you heard of RimWorld? Other than me telling you about it?
Yeah. I have. I've seen a few people get some streamer copies, and they've been debuting it.
Yeah, it's had a huge spike in popularity here recently. And about a year ago, I got with him to be a part of the podcast and let me talk to him, and he said sure, but things fell through and I wasn't able to get it done. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach back out to him and see if he still wants to do it. And he did it. We recorded a little show earlier today. It's going to be a bank show, so that way when me and you can't record one week or something like that, we can drop it in for people to enjoy. So that'll be coming out here, I don't know, in the near future, I suspect. But that's going to be fun. But yeah, we actually brought up D&D. He said that part of the thing that's inspired the way, well, he wanted a lot of people, what he wants to get across to people as the creator of the game is the game is such that it's a story-driven game. There's not really many objectives, if any objectives to accomplish, but it's the kind of game you play, and there are so many unique little nuances, people can have relationships, and then some guy can go to war and get shot in the face, and now that relationship is ruined because he's ugly now, and shit like that. And it all tells a story, and the random events that happen throughout the game tell us at the end of your session when you finally do die, or you lose everybody, whatever, you'll have this awesome story to go back and embellish on and tell and stuff like that. And so basically to me it was a lot like bringing a D&D session to a single player platform, which I think is kind of cool. I recommend it.
It's called RimWorld?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't forget that name.
I mean, yeah, it's okay. So it's not the easiest name to well,
if you think of rim
but
jobs, then it becomes kind of...
Oh, yeah, no, it's ingrained in my mind now. How can I forget this game? I'm going to go in with a totally different perspective at this point, though, so thanks. Thank you for that. You've managed to ruin a game that I haven't even tried yet.
Well, I tried.
You bastard, you.
What, have you been playing any games recently, other than, have you finished up Enter the Gungeon, or how's that going?
I don't want to talk about it. Actually, I haven't been able to beat Enter the Gungeon yet. I feel so bad. I'm 60 fucking hours into the game, and I end up raging like a lunatic because I died to something stupid, and all I want to do is just slap myself in the face with my keyboard and run naked through my house out of pure rage and anger. So I've decided to move on to I'm still playing it in my free time, but on stream I've been tackling the Borderlands series by 2K Games, man. I started Borderlands 1. I've never actually played it before because I started immediately with Borderlands 2 when it came out. But
right.
I'm now playing through with some of the streamers, or not streamers, but some of the viewers that I have. And it's proving to be a lot of fun. The viewers have played it before, so they're making it much more fast-paced than I think I would like. But I guess I'm happy that I've managed to read the story of 2, and I played it, into the ground. I know what's going on, but it would be nice if I knew what the hell was going on. And they're just like, no, we gotta go kill Skagzilla or Mothrak. What the hell are those things? Slow down a little bit, guys. You're sliding a little ahead of the game at this point.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, it sucks about Scooter. I'm like, what happened to Scooter? And it's like, his head blew up. Jesus Christ. I just met this guy and now he's already dead.
Yeah. It's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, man, it's rough. Speaking of Game of Thrones, I just watched episode 3, season 6.
God damn.
Have you been?
No, I'm so far behind.
Oh,
I got to go back and catch
shame.
up. I know.
Oh my
I got to.
gosh.
I'm missing out, man. I thought Game of Thrones had kind of died out there for a while. But
No.
But apparently people are still loving it. And I fell off at the end of season 2, and I think I told you this before. Maybe it was someone else, but I got to go. I want to go back in and at least kind of refresh myself, read a wiki on the first 2 seasons to refresh myself, and so I can pick up and kind of binge the rest of it, or as much as I get through as much as I can. But I've heard
Man.
like so much, like shit just gets realer and realer.
Dude, it is probably the best thing on television.
That's good to know. I might watch some of that
it's-
tonight then, to be honest with you.
It is hot tamales. Oh my goodness. I get so excited. Like when you see a death in the movies, you see these overacted things like where a guy's just like he's shot in the stomach and he's already coughing up blood. Like there's so much blood on his hands and on his face, and he's like, "Tell my daughter I loved her. And my only regret was that I didn't live more. Also, yeah, kick my dog because he shit on the floor too much," and then they die. No, man, and like in Game of Thrones, it's just cut and dry. When you die, you're dead. You don't get your death wail. No, it's just I watched a giant of a man pick up another man by his leg, hit him into a wall, and then toss him ragdoll style into a crowd of men.
God damn, that sounds good.
It was done. That was it. You just hear the as his head hits the wall, and then they lob him like he's a wet towel. And
Dude, I masturbate to things like that, man. That sounds awesome.
Same, except I don't, and that's weird. And it's just you need to. It's intense. It is just too intense for words. I follow it for how good the story actually is, and a lot of people give what's his face our George R. R. Martin, yeah, they give him shit for his style of writing. How they say it's too graphic, but I feel like it's refreshing in its nature. Some people would deem it to be too violent, but
well, have you read the books?
No, I have not.
Do you have plans to read the books? Because some people, like everybody always says read the books, right? But I don't know. I kind of want to, but at the same time, I don't know. What do you think?
It's gonna have to be on my list of things to eventually take care of, because I've got I want to say 12 books ahead of it, so I'm not jumping out of my pants.
Well, toss me some. What do you got on the top of your list? Because I've been looking for. Because I have like a 30-minute commute to work. One direction, and
sure.
And I usually just listen to One Direction on the way to work. No, I'm just kidding.
That's truly unfortunate.
No, but I either listen to podcasts or I listen to audiobooks, and so I'm trying to figure. I recently finished up. What was it called? Oh shit, I gotta Google it now. It's the
That's a really interesting title. Oh shit, I gotta Google it now.
That could be a good title for a book. Stephen King. It was a recent Stephen King book. 11/22/63. How could I forget?
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people talking about that.
I read that. Well, I got the audiobook and I listened to that, and that was a fucking great book. So, but I kind of want to jump into something that's a little bit more either sci-fi or fantasy based. Something with lots of war and shit like that.
Well, I've been following this author by the name of Kevin Hearn. He's probably one of my favorite authors. I would love an opportunity to get to talk to him, to pick his brain about his series. It's called the Iron Druid Chronicles, and it follows a druid by the name of Atticus O'Sullivan. So he is a druid in modern America. He's an Irish guy, and he's lived for over 2,000 years. He's learned the secret to not so much immortality, but feigning mortality. He has a series of teas that he drinks that prevents old age from taking his body.
What, is it like a werewolf or a vampire or some shit like that?
No, he's a druid of Gaia.
Okay. You said
uses
that, yes.
druidic spells, and he's just a badass. But they make references to.
So now wait a minute before we get further. A druid, refresh my memory, because when I hear druid, and this is my limited knowledge, so forgive me.
Sure.
I want to think of human shapeshifters that can shift into animals and shit like that, right?
Yeah, he can shift into animal forms. He can harness natural magic to control fibers from the earth, or he can move stone. He can move any natural material. He speaks to in the series, they acknowledge all deities, and it's not. And it in the series, it doesn't come down to which deities are real, like God is real or Thor is real. No, they exist if people believe in them. the moment that people stop believing in them, the gods lose their power, they stop existing.
Wow, that's fucking some meta shit right there. I'm trying to wrap my brain around that.
It's kind of intense.
Yeah.
And God exists, Thor exists, the Romans, the Roman deities, they exist. The whole cast and crew, man. You've got every deity that has ever been thought of by man existing in the series, but they're all doing their own thing on their own plane of existence. And he mostly works and deals with the fairy gods, and that's like it's almost laugh worthy until you find out about them and how ridiculous they really are.
It's like you've got Satan and Thor and then the fairy gods. Yeah,
they're pretty much protected by the Earth. Mother Earth defends them as if they are like her firstborn.
Well, that makes sense if he's a druid, right?
Yeah, and it's nuts, man. It's a really good series. It's an urban series that you should check out. Again, it's called the Iron Druid Chronicles. I just finished up that series.
By Kevin Hearn.
By Kevin Hearn, yep. I'm starting up a new series. It's not a book series. This is a comic book line called 100 Bullets by Brian Azzarello. And I bought the first 2 omnibus volumes available. I've also been reading through Songs of the Vikings, which is mostly about Snorri Sturluson's the Edda Prose, or the Prose Edda. What is there? What else do I have?
I don't know. I feel like the Iron Druid Chronicles. I feel like that's a lot to kind of take in, and it could get very confusing and ambiguous.
Oh, no. It's good. It's 10 out of 10, man. Good stuff. Good read. I suggest you give it a whirl. If there is a audiobook of it, you should listen to it. I think you will not be let down.
I'll check it out. I mean, if you're going to give me that kind of praise for it, I'm just going to be very, if I do take the time to listen to it and I'm disappointed, we're going to have words, but I'll definitely give it a listen.
Well, I've read
give it a read if I can find it.
I've read the first 6 books in the series 3 times, and
wow.
I've read the last 2 books. I just read them each one time apiece.
So this is like Harry Potter to you. Well, I mean, like, it's, how some people will sit there, like my brother has read all the books like a billion times. I don't even know how people read books that many times over and over, but I guess if you like it, you like it, right? So
I'm a big fan of urban fantasy. Like, Harry Potter is cool. I'm glad it's managed to capture the hearts of so many people, but I couldn't get into it when, I'd much rather watch the movies because the book form was a little harder for me to get through. It just wasn't as enjoyable. I don't know why.
Are you a fan of R.A. Salvatore by any chance?
Oh, I love Salvatore.
See, I loved reading his books. I haven't read all of them, but I've read probably like the first 6 of the Dritz Duerden series.
Yeah, if you like those, then you should get a kick out of the Iron Druid Chronicles. They're written in the same vein, except it's urban fantasy. It's modern day. It's not written in the older times.
Right. Yeah. That sounds cool. No, I could get behind that. Well, I'll check it out.
And if you like those, there is another series that it's fast argued that it is probably one of the best writes today, and it's the Dresden Files.
Oh yeah, I've heard so much about the Dresden Files. It's been on my list. I feel like it's more just from reading like reviews, or not really reviews, but like synopsis of it, or just hearing people talk about it. It sounds a little bit more like a kind of a, to me, like written for teens kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know if it would capture me as well as some other things.
Okay, so promise me this.
Okay.
If you listen to the audiobook of the Iron Druid Chronicles and you think it's good, you must listen to the first 2 books of the Dresden Files.
Okay, that's the deal.
If you think that the Iron Druid Chronicles is just okay, if it's not really holding your interest, then you must listen to the first 3 audiobooks of the Dresden Files.
Oh, this is like some weird math problem now. I've got to... Okay, all right.
The Dresden Files is a very odd series in the sense that there are 2 people that stand on these sides here. I thought the first book was the worst book in the series. Bear in mind, there's like 16 books in the series. I thought it was the worst book in the entire series. But book number 2 was a fucking wild ride. Like, paid for the whole seat. I only need the edge, my friend. Okay, I'm hanging off the lip of my seat at this point. I'm reading, like, I spun through the entire book in the course of a single day. I couldn't put it down. I went without eating. I carried it with me to the bathroom. While I was getting booty, I laid it on her back, and I was like, hold on, don't move, don't move.
And then you stop, turn the page, and then you're like, okay, let's keep going. All right,
okay, all right, we got to get this rhythm again. Yeah. No, it's a damn good series, and it deserves all the praise that it gets. But books are expensive, man. I wish I could jump into all of these book series, but I have to shop at like half price stores and stuff like that. And you know, I get it. Like, I understand why they're so expensive, because these people they're trying to make a living on this, and they get a portion of a portion of a portion after it's all said and done. And you know, I understand why books are expensive, but I can't swing it. Can't afford to buy all the books that I want.
Yeah, but books do take time to read too. So maybe, you know, while you're finishing up one series, you could be saving up to get the next series you want to get. You know,
I average read if I have about 4 or 5 hours in a day, I can probably push through 300 or 400 pages.
Yeah.
I read quick. I read very quick. So, I do have a lot of books already kind of like sitting on the side, and they're just kind of in wait at this point. Every time I go to the half price books, I end up buying like 5 or 6 books at a time, and my wife is constantly telling me, like, you don't fucking need any more books. You always buy books. I'm like, I'm fucking always reading books, man. Like, you can't get mad at a guy for trying to learn. Like, that's...
Well, I mean, does your wife still work part-time at Barnes & Noble?
No, she stopped after the winter season was over.
All right.
But she said she'll be going back.
You were capitalizing though on that.
Oh, dude, like basically all of the money that she earned
went back into the store.
She was spending it on me.
That's sweet of her, you know. But that's kind of like when I worked at the Magic. I used to work at a Magic store, and like for a long time, especially when I was a lot younger, I like fucking almost my whole paycheck went back into buying magic tricks. So yeah, I can get it. So hopping back into video games for a second. Have you ever played the game? That's an old, like, I think Sierra game, called Police Quest. Like, it was back in the golden age of video games, as they say.
No, I can't say I have.
But you know, it was a lot like King's Quest or Space Quest. It was, you know, the same people, the same thing.
Those sound way more interesting than Police Quest.
Well, they're more popular than Police Quest, but
okay, sure.
But you know, see, a space is one of those you walk up to something and you have to like type in like, okay, open door, and then like it opens the door, it says like this door is locked or whatever. You know what I mean? It's those kind of it's like an adventure game. And but
Bludgeon Criminal.
Yeah, exactly. But Police Quest was the same kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Engine. But it was basically you were a police officer, and it was really fun.
Fire at assailants.
Exactly. Look, and you had to make sure, like, if you pulled someone over, you had to make sure you went by you did everything the right way, because if not, like, shit would go bad. Like, if you tried to get the guy out of the car without like patting him down, then he would like pull a gun out and shoot you and shit. It sounds dumb, but trust me, like, well, you may not be into it, but it was a great game. I loved it.
Plant firearm.
But it was fun,
I can
dude.
see it going in so many directions. So
it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't do that. But it's so like satisfying when you finally figure out that syntax you have to use and it works.
I feel like I said, man, I feel like King's Quest seems way more intense and way more, I don't know, it just seems like way more up my alley. And this isn't my inner D&D player talking.
Yeah.
When you're trying to read someone their Miranda rights,
you had to do that in the game. Actually, you did.
No. Oh, that's how. Why did this even come up?
Because what I was talking about is there's a new mod released for Grand Theft Auto 5 where you can basically, it's like almost a complete remap of the game.
No.
Where you get to be a police officer, and you kind of, it's like Police Quest, but like with Grand Theft Auto 5 shit. And I'm super.
It's Grand Theft Auto 5, so it's actually Dirty Cop Quest.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's kind of almost like what DayZ did to what was the name of the game? Arma 2.
Oh, Arma. Yeah.
So it's a lot like that. But I saw that earlier. I saw some YouTube videos of it, and I was like, wow, that's like, it brought out my inner Police Quest love, and I want to try that out. Is there anything coming out on the horizon you're looking forward to?
Not Police Quest. That's a great question, man. I don't know. Recently on my stream, I was given 2 games that I've been kind of like super antsy for, so I'm not sure if there's anything that I'm like dying for. Let me check. I need to check my
pull up that Steam
my
featured
Steam
page.
library.
Well, I was talking to Tynan about this earlier, the RimWorld guy.
Yeah.
And we were like, there's just so much shit that comes out on Steam these days. Like having your game released early access on Steam is oftentimes worse than releasing it after it's finished. Because people can, not just anybody can throw junk up there, but it feels that way a lot of the times. Like top sellers right now, Stellaris, like it's okay, another space strategy RTS game. Wow.
Yeah.
Doom. I mean, I love the original.
Doom comes out Friday, and it's supposed to be nuts. I don't know if you've seen anything about it.
I mean, it looks cool, but I mean, I don't want to pay $60 for it right now. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I don't want to pay $60 for it either. But fuck, man, it just seems that okay, I grew up playing Doom. All right, so having that is just nuts. It's super nuts to me.
It was a great game. I remember playing the shit out of it, but that's kind of like, that was all you had was a first-person shooter. That was like the first-person shooter in the day, really. That and like GoldenEye, but Doom was even before GoldenEye.
It was Duke Nukem for me.
Yeah, Duke Nukem, same shit. But there's a lot of first-person shooters. I like it. I want to play it.
Same shit. You blasphemer! You get the fuck out of here.
It's.
Let's see. I just got a game called Hyper Light Drifter, which it's supposed to be very, very difficult, adventure, side-scroller kind of thing. Not side-scroller, I don't know, I can't really explain it. But tonight I was actually gifted Dark Souls 3.
Oh, yeah. That's a hard fucking game, man. If you haven't gotten through Enter the Gungeon, or it took you like 3 years to get through Witcher 3, you think you're gonna play Dark Souls 3?
Witcher 3's not been out. Get the fuck out of here. It's not been out 3 years.
No, but
you hate.
I'm just saying, like, I can't wait to see you play Dark Souls 3. I want to watch you rage. You're going to be streaming it, I hope.
Oh, I already know. The last time I played a Dark Souls game, I had to walk away from my computer. I was so frustrated. I got a bloody nose. I can already imagine. This game is going to give me hemorrhoids, man. I'm going to fucking lose my mind.
Right. It's going to be great. I'll tell you a game I am willing to pay $60 for.
No.
Provided I have the $60. Total War Warhammer. Oh my god. Have you ever played any of the Total War games?
I have not.
Well, I've played a few of them. Most of them are shit, but there's been a lot of hype for Total War Warhammer, and it looks like, I think it's, and a lot of people say this, it's what the series really needs. It's like fantasy crossover with like military strategy, right? Dragons and shit, and orcs and fucking goblins, and riding on mystical bird-like creatures and shit. It's going to be great.
Okay.
And then you control the battle. So like, I imagine, there's like, you build up your army and you capture different settlements and shit like that. And you forge an army, and then you can go to war. And then like, that's a game within itself. Like, then you micromanage the war, and
Nice.
So, and it's all like Warhammer's like style shit, not the whole medieval, like, or Napoleon era or the ancient era. It's like the kind of shit we want to fucking use as armies. We don't want.
Right.
I'm tired of playing games where we're like using swords and crossbows. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which again, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be swords and crossbows in Warhammer, but the orcs are gonna be wielding them, and that makes it better.
Okay. That makes it better. That's everything that we need. Just orcs wielding crossbows and things.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I don't know, man. I'll stick to my orcs using like big bludgeoning weapons or swords. I don't feel like I would trust an orc with a crossbow.
No,
I feel
you're right.
That's a bit of a letdown.
I was being too general there. I apologize.
You monster.
So what else has been going on your mind? Anything else you wanna throw out?
Oh man, like I feel like I've been so
busy?
burdened down by this these games. Like right now I'm in the phase of launching 3 to 4 different games, and that's not a problem. That's never an issue.
Yeah, it sounds like a good problem.
But it's the actual launching phase is taking so long. Oh my God, it's taking so long. And all I want to do is just start. That's it. That's all I want to do is I just want to fucking start the game.
Yeah,
but
that's it's like waiting for Christmas, isn't it? You know, back when you gave a shit about Christmas. I still like Christmas, but you know what I mean.
I still like Christmas. I mean, yeah. I like watching my wife open up presents. She gets super happy.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, it does kind of get a little bit different. You know, the older you get, right? But you know, when you're young, you just it's like December 23rd, and you're like, oh, it's almost Christmas. It's like Christmas. It's Eve, Christmas Eve, you know, and you're just so pumped and waiting. You know, that's a lot what it's like. No, but it's exciting too, though. We do have to. We were saying earlier about Kanto getting it pumped and ready to go and coming up with ideas to promote it. And I think once you get your crew together, you know, we can start blasting. I can, you know, we'll blast it on the Technobabble Twitter. You blast it on your personal Twitter. And I mean, you know, spread the word, tell everybody, like talk constantly about it. That's really all, you know, that's the only thing. That's what hyping is, really. You know, just talk about it a lot. So once it gets set in stone, man, we'll just start fucking nonstop. Kanto's coming out, man. It's going to be great, and it will be great. I'm super looking forward, because at this point, you know, it's season 2 now. You know, the players that are returning are going to be experienced. A lot of people are familiar with it. You kind of settled the format of it and set the tone, so to speak. So, you know, it's like season 1 of anything is not that great usually, right? But you know, season 2, like you were saying with Dresden Files, right? It's gonna be so epic.
Well, I mean, like you got to lay down your groundwork, and I feel like that was a large portion of what the quote unquote season 1 was for Kanto Crusades. But I'm super stoked for it. It's been a large part of my life, man. Pokemon it's kind of shaped my mind for myself as an adult, and that's weird. Like a lot of people may say that, but they don't actually believe it, and I live it as a storyteller by trade. This is what I live for. So yeah, it's certainly something to say the least, and I'm eager to run this course, see what I can draw from it. I just want to be able to do something different. I don't want to be like every other dungeon master providing the same Lord of the Rings style high fantasy-esque game, and that's it. I want to be able to provide different things so I can attract all audiences, and I feel like that's kind of the best thing you can do.
If you're going to be like primarily focused on tabletop or Dungeons and Dragons tabletop RPG, you know, content, then it'll behoove you to have, you know, different games running, like your Pokemon game, you know, or you know, and a Pathfinder campaign. You got that going already. You know, that's very popular. That's a staple, right? You know, maybe you know, there's plenty of games. So spread it out. Play different types of games and expose people, because that's the thing. A lot of people don't even realize that there's shit besides Dungeons and Dragons you can play, but there's like so much, and a lot of it's hidden deep down. You know, you have to really search for it to find the books and shit.
You do. You really have to. I mean, there's hundreds of tabletop games that you can jump into, but obviously D&D has kind of dominated the market, and you won't find out all of these others until you actually start searching for it. So you need the entry, like, you know, the gateway drug, I guess.
Yeah.
And D&D was my gateway drug into these things. It just took a little bit of time in order to find some of these other things, or at least read about them. And yeah, I've come across a ton of different types. I mean, I can't even tell you all the type of role-playing games that I have up here. Like, I'm looking at it, and I've got Pathfinder, I have Heroes Unlimited, I have Rift, I've got Helsing, World of Darkness, Serenity, as in Firefly. I've got Mouse Guard, Dresden Files, and 5th edition, along with like 40 hardbound books of 3.5 behind me. So yeah, I have a lot of material in tabletop games, and it's a lot of knowledge, but it's in the pursuit of bettering myself as a streamer and as a role player and just everything in general, man.
Yeah, and it's fun, you know, like I bet it's always a nice feeling to crack open a new book or a new game and dive into it. You know, it's just a breath of fresh air, and Some of them, suck, but a lot of them are
giddy.
really good. Yeah.
I get super giddy. I feel like a little kid every time I get a new book. You know, that moment when you crack open a hardbound book and you hear the cracking of the spine.
Yeah.
That is a sound of my addiction. And every time I hear it, I just picture myself diving into a pool full of Snickers.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't control myself. Like, I feel like I get slightly aroused every time.
Oh, yes.
I know that it's probably an issue, but
No.
for now, allow me to enjoy my spine cracking addiction.
We all have our little skeletons in the closet. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I won't tell if you won't.
Well, sir. I'll keep that in mind. So Mondays, Kanto Crusades, that's going to need to launch. Tuesday game, I finally found what module I want to run them through, and this is like their starter module. So they don't need an overlay, they don't need anything like that.
Right.
It's just me laying down the maps for them so that they can learn how to role play together.
Explain this a little bit more to me, because I'm a little bit confused right now.
Okay, so like when I take them to stream, I have full knowledge of them being capable of understanding the basic concepts of the game, the basic rules of the game, and the ability to role play with each other. When I run them off stream, it's to condition and coach them into learning how to role play. I need to teach them the basic algorithms and the math for running certain rules, rolling certain checks, understanding certain lingo. So it's like when you come to a cliffside, you have X number of ways to get down that cliffside. And you're like, well, I think I just want to jump down. And my response to you would be like, okay, Kirk, give me a save. I need an acrobatics check. You have to break a DC of 25. Do you even know what any of that means?
And I would be like, okay, what was the first thing you said?
See, it's conditioning them to know the lingo.
Right.
And once they get the lingo down and then they start understanding the basic rolling concepts, the hard part after that is teaching them how to role play. So I can pull them out of their shell and getting them to immerse themselves into these characters so that it can provide an interesting experience for all parties involved. And that's why I do these games off stream. So they know my rules, they know the game rules, and they know their own limits, and I can push them. I want to push those limits. I want to broaden their boundaries and make them a bit better at what it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah, throw problems at them and let them solve those problems, right, within the parameters of the game.
Right, and that's what I've been doing for a long time now. It's what I've been doing for Thursdays, but Thursdays are quickly approaching the point where they're no longer going to be off stream. They're going to be moving to an on-stream game, and I'm completely okay with that because I need to start bringing more material to stream since people are, I've had a lot of people tell me recently that, like, Bubb, Wednesdays are a lot of fun, man. We really want to see more. Can we get more? I want to see more. And I tell them, it's like, well, you just gotta wait. Nobody wants to be told that they've got to wait. So,
right. But good things come to those who wait.
That's right. But Thursday's pretty much ready. I just want them to finish their campaign, and they'll be moving through the Mummy's Mask, which is interesting to say the least. It's a desert campaign based in the sands of Osiria, and it should be interesting. It's filled with sphinxes and legends of desert cobras, hot suns, sandstorms.
Lots of traps and dungeons to explore, I'm imagining.
Oh yeah. All kinds of pyramids and the like, tombs of forgotten pharaohs, things like that. It's going to be nuts, to say the least. I'm pretty excited for it. It's allowed me, it's afforded me a new opportunity to test the limits of my role play, because I've never tried to adapt to an Egyptian style. I hope that's not racist to say, but there's some kind of Egyptian style of accent and dialect. And what I'm using now, they're like, well, that's really good. That's kind of what I think that they would sound like.
What would they sound like, Bubb? I want to hear it.
I am not your dancing monkey. Jesus Christ.
I just want to hear this racist. I want to hear this racist accent.
Bookity bookity, shut up. I'm not doing it for you.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Oh, man. All right.
They do this to me all the time. Like, we'll be in the middle of the call. It's like, hey, Bubb, how does one dame sound? I'm like, it sounds like shut the hell up. Stop asking me to do this off stream. I'm like, I do this all the time. Why you gotta get me in the middle of a video game? Come on now.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna make sure I have to pay close attention to that.
You'll have to. Yeah, it's making out to be a pretty good game so far. But my Tuesday night game, when that runs, it will be 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. So that's gonna be like super late for me. But
Eastern time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Eastern time. Yeah, and
10 a.m. to 3 p.m., which is normally like
no, 10 p.m.
Oh.
to 3 a.m.
Well, hey, I think you'll pick up some different viewers, you know.
Yeah, I think so. And that one, like that campaign, is going to be very different. It's the Giants campaign.
Oh yeah, right. We were talking about that. I'm
not like the New York Giants.
No,
and I'm talking like legitimate colossal sized Jack and the Beanstalk motherfuckers. That
like Gulliver's Travels Giants.
Yeah, we're talking some mean Mudda-truckers.
So what's this? Can you give us a little bit of story on that? What's going to be the kind of the driving story behind that game?
No, I can't.
Okay.
Even if I could, I wouldn't, but I can't because I haven't read it yet. Yeah.
Okay, but it still sounds like it's going to be fun.
It's basically, from everything I've gathered, it's a giant slaying campaign.
Right. Oh, so you got it. So the players aren't playing the Giants; they're playing Giant Slayers.
They're playing Giant Slayers. That's right.
Oh man, lots of TPKs I'm seeing in your future.
Oh, easy TPKs. Because like where you or I would take a broadsword to a man and cut him in half, these guys can pick you up and throw you easily the length of a football field, and with no effort whatsoever. So, oh yeah, I'm gonna have some fun with this one. And I've been itching to get into a game where I can role play as a giant, and this is perfect. It's everything I could desire at this point. So like I'm testing the limitations of myself. I've got this Giants game that I'm running. I've got Shackled City, which is basically my Dungeons and Dumbasses, and I've got my Thursday game, which is going to be in the Sands. So at this point, I'm only missing a Seafaring campaign, and I'll have practically everything covered.
A Seafaring campaign. Do you have anything in mind? That sounds really fun.
I actually don't. I have nothing in mind, and that's only a matter of time at this point.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll get kicked around until I can find something that I want to run. But I still have quite a few things up my sleeve.
Dude, that
first.
sounds fucking awesome. A Seafaring campaign. Oh man, that would be great. Oh, dude, maybe. Oh god, yeah. My balls are tingling thinking about it.
Calm down. I'm gonna show you very odd pictures of buttholes if you don't calm down. I know what that can do. Man.
That's actually gonna only make it worse, Bub.
Oh no, please, balls are low. No more tingles, please.
Oh man.
But yeah, like that's just those games right there. And I'm I wanted to talk to you about D20 debut. And,
yeah, let's talk about that.
And set that up because like I haven't talked to CJ yet. I'll probably be talking to him tomorrow, Thursday at the absolute latest, and I want to launch that. I want to start kicking that around, and I want to have a couple of ideas for you to prep the overlay for it.
Sure.
And so we can start reaching out to people. So I started thinking about Batman, and I have this idea now. It's like it's pot shot in the dark at this point, but it would be cool if we could get a hold of Kevin Conroy to do either the fanboy or the person of the subject matter expert. Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman in the most popular version of the Batman cartoons.
Right.
In fact, he's going to be the voice of Batman in this upcoming Killing Joke movie, alongside of Mark Hamill. And I think he would be fucking amazing to have as either the subject matter expert or the fanboy, and have him doing, just a few simple lines or some basic arguing. I think that would be cool.
I'm actually looking at his Twitter right now, and at first, when you first said that name, I mean, I was like, Bub, you're like, fucking, why don't you get like Michael Keaton or but then I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking he might be very well approachable, I mean, it's worth a shot, we could send him, we could shoot him a message and see what he has to say. I think that's you don't know unless you try, man.
I mean, you got a point. Unless I'm not gonna know. But yeah, that's something that I would like to do. I'd love to be able to tackle that. And I have no idea. Maybe we could. How cool would it be if he's the subject matter expert and he's playing Batman, and Mark Hamill came on as the fanboy and he was playing the Joker?
Oh, Mark Hamill, that would be great. We should get Kevin Conroy for one episode, and then Mark Hamill for the next episode. And then have a game where they take these two characters that they help create, and then they fight inside the game as Batman and the Joker.
As the gauntlet, man. Put them in the game against each other. I'm down for that.
It might be above our budget, though, to be quite honest.
Maybe so. But like you said, how do we know until we try?
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. Mark Hamill's a good idea too. Maybe, who knows? You never know. Or Adam West.
Mark Hamill, that's one of those underground names. Not a lot of people have heard of that guy, so.
What do you mean, Mark Hamill is fucking like Luke Skywalker?
I'm being facetious, you dick.
Okay, the facetiousness went over my head there. I'm sorry.
Clearly, I've succeeded in my bluff check.
Oh, you did. Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, you're not going to get me twice. Oh, my God. Anyway, no, that would be cool. We should definitely at least reach out. Even, what do you think about Adam West? Like, you never know. Since we're going for these,
I'm down for it, man. Like, if we could get Adam West and Kevin Conroy on the Batman one, I think I would have. My nerd boner would explode.
Dude,
all right,
that would be amazing.
I would probably poop, and I don't even know what I would. I'm floored. I'm tickled to death just thinking about it. I've got this weird, butterflies in my stomach. I might be attracted to this idea sexually. I'm not even sure yet.
Oh man, yeah. Dude, so do you have any ideas of what do you want to? How should we approach them? I guess do you want to have something to? What would you do, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
I am the worst person to talk to about this. I'm going to put you and my wife together to discuss this one.
That would be a good idea, yeah.
She's so much better about this. She's got an idea on how to contact people like this, and I don't. So having her knowledge would... I think it would be intrinsic to have at this point.
Sure, I totally agree. Yeah, generally when I'm reaching,
that's the right word.
When I'm reaching out to people, it's usually like a message on Twitter or an email, and it's a semi-professional kind of message. But it's basically hey, this is what we're doing. We'd love to have you on. Let us know if we can work something out. And right. But I think you may want to make it. I don't know. I'd like to talk to her about it and see if she has any ideas on. Maybe she's got any insight on the know of people or something. I don't know. We'll find out.
She's pretty good about this kind of thing, so she might have some interest.
No, that sounds fun.
But then again, like I said, I don't know. We'll find out.
So are you gonna but let's say worst case scenario, we can't get anybody like that, at least not right away. What's kind of plan B? Do we have any plan Bs?
We just at this point we start developing a list of names of people that are attached to Batman, by nature, by project, by experience, creators, voice actors, anybody who's been attached to any Batman project whatsoever. I mean, at this point, we could fucking contact Val Kilmer, since he was Batman.
Mm-hmm. George Clooney.
Yeah, I mean, who's heard of George Clooney? That guy's not done anything in a millennia, right? Am I right?
Right. Yeah.
No, it's just me here. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. We just keep reaching out. Hell, maybe no. I for a second there, I believe that Christian Bale was someone that we could contact, but that sounds like.
I got the perfect. Dude, this is perfect. All we need to do is get in touch with Ben Affleck. And you and I have both met Kevin Smith, who helped launch Ben Affleck's career. So he's and he lives in Ben Affleck's old house. So he practically he's our in. So we should get in touch with Kevin and say, hey man, see if you can get Ben for us.
Why don't we just reach out to Kevin?
That's man, Kevin. I think I have tried to reach out to him before, and he has responded to Twitter messages or at least hit the like button or whatever on him. But he's so busy, man, and I feel like all these guys are really busy. But it doesn't hurt to reach out to him again. We can throw the line out there. But I know he's so fucking busy, and
man, we're moving to that big pond again.
Yeah.
Let's hope we got some sexy bait on this on this line. Oh man, you better be dancing on the end of the string, or these fish aren't jumping, Kirk. I'm sorry.
So is that what we're doing now, or I guess what you're going to be kind of focusing on with D20? Which we should probably explain what D20 debut is. But basically it's a podcast that you did and you're relaunching. You and a few other of your friends and family,
Yeah.
where you basically take a character. In the case we've been discussing Batman, but you've done all sorts of characters. And turn them into a D&D style, something playable.
A playable character, yeah actually.
And you usually go ahead.
The idea is to get a group of individuals who are knowledgeable about the subject, to have them argue why they believe he should have X stats, X capabilities, X levels, and it's got to be enjoyable, but you have to make sure that it's legitimate, well within the realm of reason and the boundaries that you set. So at this point, I've got a huge library of books, so I can begin kicking around some ideas. But I would love to be able to tackle characters like the Incredible Hulk, like Batman, and some of these more prolific characters. And
but can you take
playable
characters with Batman's one thing because he doesn't really have superhuman abilities. But like the Hulk or the Flash or any other really super metahuman kind of character, could you even that would be? I mean, I say all this right on the verge of Civil War and Batman v Superman and the Justice League and all that coming out, where literally all these characters are fighting one another. But I mean, that really only works in that sort of fantasy universe. You know what I mean?
I very much believe that it is capable of turning them into a playable character. You just have to be realistic when noting their statistics, when noting their capabilities. A lot of people get hung up on certain things and they lose the balance. For instance, when people think of the Incredible Hulk's strength, most people would jokingly say, this is where we put the infinity symbol. Well, his strength, while it is boundless because it's never been pushed to that limit, we can look at the feats that he has succeeded in, and we can annotate that on paper. It comes down to more or less basic math. And from that point, that's where we discover what his stats may be. So instead of jokingly putting an infinity symbol, it could be something like the equivalent of the peak of human capability would be a 20.
Right.
So giving the Hulk would be the equivalent of giving him in the realm of the upper 40s, low 50s, possibly 60s even. And those are huge numbers. Those are beyond
human capability.
All human capability.
Exactly, yeah.
There's no way that a human could achieve this without the aid of something supernatural.
But he would need some sort of weakness, like a counterbalance, right? But
not necessarily.
Not really, no. He can just be overpowered.
Yeah, he can just be overpowered. I mean, when you look at the Hulk's capabilities, a lot of people just think that he has boundless strength.
So you would need a game oh my god, I see this coming, but we're gonna have to get in touch. While we're contacting all these other super celebrities and shit, we should get in touch with Marvel and DC and say, look, we're gonna run a D&D campaign where we need Batman and Superman and the Hulk and the Flash and Spider-Man. So can we get the rights to use those guys? That would be cool though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If you could do that, I know there are probably there's got to be D&D campaign, or not. I'd say D&D campaigns because that's kind of like Band-Aid, right? But
right.
There's got to be campaigns with superheroes and shit like that. Inspired by.
I'm sure there is. I mean, you've got what is it? It's Mutants and Masterminds.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
It's basically a superhero version of DC and Marvel. You can make your own, but there's others. I have Heroes Unlimited by Palladium Games, and that's very much in the same vein. And that's a system that I would prefer to run. But I would keep this down to.
Is that the Project Valhalla system?
Yeah. I would be running that out of the Palladium system for Project Valhalla. It's based out of the Heroes books.
Right.
So, and that's another game that I still want to run, but that's even further and far between than the others at this point. There is no initial launch in the coming months. It could be as late as the beginning of next year at this point.
Well,
So
and
it's-
that's like, it sounds
on
bad,
this.
or you hate to kind of say that, for people who are looking forward to it, and even yourself who's looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, like and again, this is something I was talking to someone earlier about. You get, patience is a virtue, right? And sometimes you got all this stuff on your plate, and this is like, I know I've had this problem, and me and you have talked about it, and something we both, and I think a lot of people kind of struggle with, at least people who are, have the creative minds and are artists and such. Like you oftentimes you find yourself getting overwhelmed with ideas and a lot of things you want to do, and you just don't know how to, or where to start, or which one to do first. But I was talking to this guy earlier, and he basically said, he's learned that if you just sit back and you just put all this stuff, don't like discount it, but put it, like, write it down, or you document it somewhere, and over time, just kind of take it one day at a time, see what naturally comes next. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? And let it kind of develop
Right.
itself. And I think that's kind of a good way of working. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and sometimes, Project Valhalla was like, yeah, man, we're going to be doing this. It's going to be coming up soon. But then life happens, shit happens, things change, new things come along. And you're like, you know what? This is actually better than that for now. Let's do this for now. And
It definitely is filling the place. Not like I'm trying to forget about it by any means, because it's a very, very important campaign for me to run. But at the moment, it's just not feasible. With as much training as that would go into it, with me teaching people and picking the right role players for the type of game, it would be very trying on my patience. And right now, I'm stressed and ran a little thin, so I just want to make sure that I get everything else launched before I throw myself deeper into that deep end.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's a good thing to do. Well, we don't want to kill people like with running on for too long here. I think we've reached a good stopping point. Is there anything, any shout outs you want to say? I know if you guys have any questions about what you've heard, or you want to hear us discuss something else, or just want to ask general questions about everyday life, I think we'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. So you can reach us on @thetechnobabble on Twitter and hit us there. And Bubbernaut has his own personal Twitter. You can more than happily reach him at
Bubbernaut_CCE.
Yep. And I guess until next time, it's been fun.
This concludes the Technobabble podcast. If you would like to leave feedback, please send us an email to thetechnobabblepodcast@gmail.com, or feel free to reach out to us via Twitter @thetechnobabble. Thanks for listening. See you next time.